Hello and welcome. It's David with Ag Economic Insights, and I'm joining you to talk about the Forecast Network question of the week. And this week, I want to review where we've been with the questions we've been posing since the beginning of the growing season about trend yields. We've been following along. We've been asking questions about the August and the September, and we'll do it again for October and November for those specific WASD yield estimates. And those come out about a week before each report. And you can really dial in with what the trade consensus is, and you can look at your expectations. So that's one type of question. Again, the question I'm talking about today are questions that we've been following for about 6 months now. And the first one here is the probability of the U.S. corn crop coming in above 177 bushels per acre. There's a lot of background information you can read as to how we came to that 177 bushel per acre initial peg in the sand, that initial stake in the sand. And we've been tracking this number actually going back into February. We first asked this question uh, early in February, and we've been following this. It's been really interesting to watch this trade out. So I'm going to turn off the consensus here. Here's my forecast. I started at about a 60% probability. 177 was the trend yield. And with corn, the way the yields, the distribution of the yields over time, we see above trend more often than not. So about 60% of the time we have above trend yields. So I started my forecast at 60%. As we went through the growing season, I made some adjustments higher, and I got up to about I guess very high, about 87% probability. I started questioning my expectations. I actually looked at an article about how much air we have in those August yield forecasts and those yield updates. Of course, that August WASI report was well above trend. And so I started questioning my forecast a little bit. I started making some adjustments. Then, of course, the big storm in Iowa. We saw the expansion of the drought. And we saw the slipping in the crop ratings. And so we have the AEI Yield Project, which is a weekly look at some yield models. And I've been adjusting my forecast lower. I've been above the trend and below the trend. I'm well below the trend now. So my forecast is about 50% probability of 46% probability of that U.S. corn yield coming in above 177. We're going to close this question based on the November WASDE, so you can get in here, get some forecast in there. You can see the consensus. The consensus jumped up in May with some good planning progress, and then it slipped a little bit into June, and then came back a lot higher into August, getting up. The consensus got above 80%, but now is somewhere around 65%. So that's for corn. Here's what we're looking at for soybeans. And soybeans, we put the number at 49.5 bushels per acre. I started about a 55% probability. I got as high as an 80% probability back again in August, before I started really questioning how much error there might be in these early yield estimates. I've dropped it back to 50%. The consensus here is at 70%. Of course, WASD and the US NAS yields are still well above 50 bushels per acre. But we're starting to close in on this final, about 6 weeks left on these questions. So we're going to keep an eye on these as they continue to move forward. It's, what we like to say at the with the Ag Forecast Network tool is you win some, you lose some, but you're always learning. And what's really interesting about this that no one else has, and only the users of this have access to that, especially when they're logging their forecasts, is you can see what caused your expectations to change and evolve over time. And see, I even left myself a note on August 19th. I said, hey, I'm dropping my forecast because I'm less confident given the error in those early WASD and NAS yield estimates. And I posted that article in there. So I can see how my expectations have shifted and changed over time. And this is why it's really important to use a tool like the Ag Forecast Network when we're thinking about uncertainty. We need to learn from our prior expectations. We need to learn what was influencing our decisions and help us dial in those expectations. So again, I'm David Widmar, co-founder of Ag Economic Insights, sharing the question of the week this week. You can get in there and update your forecasts. If you're not currently a subscriber of AEI Premium, you can start with the free trial. It's a 14-day trial. You can get in there and get a lot of experience. Take a look at our exclusive content and also use the Forecast Network tool. And also, we're happy to chat with you if you want to talk about ways to get your organization access to this. So this is a great tool to also use with your teams or your organizations, or thinking about ways that you can think more critically about the uncertainties you, your customers, or your organization are facing. So again, thanks for joining us. We'll catch you later next week. Thanks so much.